Chapter 71 Hurtful Words. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Qingcheng's words made Ye Tiance laugh dumbly, he. Yes. How could she ever trust him all this time? No matter how much he does, in her eyes, he will still be just a villain in the end. Seeing Ye Tiance's expression, Xiao Qingcheng frowned and said displeasedly, Ye Tiance, please don't show this expression in front of me in the future, as if I have wronged you. We both know very well what kind of person you are, otherwise our marriage would not have ended up like this. Speaking of this, Xiao Qingcheng's entire face was cold, with no emotion at all. In fact, just now, she thought she had wronged Ye Tiance. It turned out that he really knew medical skills and was not so useless. However, the fact is that he lied in public again. This is still lying about Grandpa's illness. This is something she absolutely cannot accept. Seeing Xiao Qingcheng make her attitude clear, Zhang Huilan immediately jumped out and reprimanded, You have been a parasite in my family for 3 years. Just forget it if you are not grateful. You have deceived us again and again. Your conscience has been eaten by a dog, Xiao Nan said angrily, Ha. I told you that you don't have medical skills, so you insist on showing off, and you want me to kneel down and apologize. Why don't you beep now, that the other relatives and friends of the Xiao family also pointed, what you say is as ugly as it sounds. Now, Han Ruoyun in the ward couldn't stand it anymore. She said unhappily, Didn't you people hear that Ye Tiance asked Taoist Yunlong to explain? You didn't even understand the result, so you just vented your anger on Ye Tiance. Can you please be reasonable? In his heart, Han Ruoyun didn't believe in Taoist Yunlong. After all, she knew that Taoist Master Gongsun was unreliable, and his senior brother was not a good person either. Everyone looked at Taoist priest Yunlong. Xiao Nan said with a flattering look on his face, Taoist priest, tell me what's going on. Come and slap that loser in the face. Taoist priest Yunlong glanced at Ye Tiance. In fact, he had already planned to tell the truth just now, but he didn't expect Xiao Qingcheng to suddenly stop Ye Tiance. Moreover, he also captured a key message from the Xiao family's sarcastic words, that is, Ye Tiance is a good-for-nothing son-in-law that everyone looks down upon. In this case, I guess he must not have a horror background. Then there is no need to be afraid of the other party. Think about this. Taoist Master Yunlong regained his composure, he stroked his beard and said, Pindao has already said that I saved Mr. Zhao's illness and has nothing to do with anyone else. Please don't put money in your own face if you have nothing to do with it. Hear the words, Xiao Nan scolded Ye Tiance, do you hear me clearly now? What else do you have to quibble with? Ye Tiance narrowed his eyes and said, This old Taoist priest is lying. Give me half a minute and I will make him tell the truth. It seems that Taoist Master Yunlong needs to be taught some lessons before he can tell the truth. Xiao Qingcheng said with a solemn expression, What are you going to do? Do you want to hit someone in a public place like the hospital? Ye Tiance said coldly, Get out of the way. As he spoke, a wave of coercion spread out around him. Zhang Huilan, Xiao Nan and Ji Boxiao were so frightened that they couldn't help but take half a step back. You must know that they have seen Ye Tiance's skills before. Even Taoist priest Yunlong trembled. He seemed to have an intuition, as long as Ye Tiance takes action, he can kill himself in an instant. However, Xiao Qingcheng looked determined and continued to block Ye Tiance. She shook her head and sneered, Ha! Master Yi, I know you are a good fighter. Every time you get into trouble, you hit someone. Now you want to do it again, right? As long as I'm here, you won't be allowed to attack the benefactor who saved Grandpa. If you don't feel relieved, just slap me. Anyway, I slapped you earlier at the birthday banquet. You must have wanted to give it back, right? It doesn't matter, you should come back. I, Xiao Qingcheng, promise not to have any complaints. Xiao Qingcheng raised her chin slightly, put on a cold and unyielding expression. Those eyes flickered with disappointment for Ye Tiance. I think back to those days when the two of them grew up together as childhood sweethearts and childhood sweethearts. But she didn't understand why the once sunny young man had become so hypocritical and irritable today several years later. On the other hand, Ye Tiance's eyes drooped lightly. He didn't understand either. Where has that little girl who was smiling and considerate every day gone now? After 3 years of marriage, he had looked for the shadow of his past in her countless times, nothing gained in the end. Maybe, these are all your own wishful thinking. Ye Tiance regained his indifferent expression, he said to Xiao Qingcheng, "Ha! Compared to me, you, Mr. Xiao, are the real master. I, Ye Tiance, am not as skilled as others, so how can I dare to slap you, that I'm not welcome here? Just leave. Don't forget to bring your documents to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get the divorce certificate at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. From now on, it won't matter anymore." The moment it comes out, he no longer had any illusions about this marriage. The same goes for Xiao Qingcheng. Ye Tiance unclenched his fist, turned sideways, walked past Xiao Qingcheng, and left the ward, didn't even look back. Zhang Huilan spat and said, "Bah." Once the lie was exposed, he ran away with his tail between his legs. No wonder the wall has been stuck in the mud all these years. The other relatives and friends of the Xiao family also laughed at him. Xiao Hongming sighed on the hospital bed. He didn't understand why everything was fine, but ended up like this. Xiao Qingcheng was still standing there. Although Ye Tiance left the ward as she wished, he also promised to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to apply for divorce tomorrow, but for some reason, she just couldn't be happy at this time. I always felt that there were some key details that she had missed. 0.at this time, Han Ruoyun came over, facing Xiao Qingcheng. He asked, "You don't trust Ye Tiance so much, aren't you afraid that you will make a mistake and regret it in the future?" Xiao Qingcheng shook his head and said, "Xiao Qingcheng, am very confident in my vision. I will never make a mistake, let alone regret it." Han Ruoyun sneered, "Ha! Let's wait and see." She turned to leave the ward, however, Ji Boxiao raised his hand to stop him. Han Ruoyun frowned and asked, "What are you going to do?" Ji Boxiao smiled and said, "How dare I do anything to Miss Han? I just want to remind you that the man named Ji defrauded you of 2,000 million yuan. Not only did he not cherish it, but he spent it in random bidding at my Ji family's birthday party today. It's really not worth it for you to defend this kind of person." Han Ruoyun was stunned for a moment and asked, "When did he cheat me out of 2,000 million? Ji Bo asked, "Miss Han, are you still pretending to be confused? Your father said at the birthday party that you once gave Ye Tiance 2,000 million. You won't forget it, right?" Han Ruoyun rolled his eyes and said, "I gave him 2,000 million, but he didn't take it back at all." And everyone present was stunned. What? Ye Tiance didn't accept Han Ruoyun's 2,000 million? So where did the 2,000 million he spent on bidding and swiping his card come from? At this moment, everyone had a very scary idea. Could it be that ... is there really a deposit of 100 million in Ye Tiance's black card? Chapter 72 Mr. Yi, I have found you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Among everyone present, the first one to express disbelief was definitely Ji Boxiao. He frowned and shook his head. This is impossible. If you don't give him 2,000 million, where will he get so much money? Han Ruoyun opened his backpack and took out 2 bank cards. He said angrily, "Open your eyes and see clearly. The 2,000 million is still here with me. As for where his money came from, how do people know?" In fact, Han Ruoyun couldn't help but be curious. He thought that Ye Tiance was kicked out by the Xiao family, and he didn't look like a rich man. Where did the 2,000 million come from? Ji Boxiao said disdainfully, "Humph. That guy knows how to eat soft food. Who knows if he got it from some other rich woman? But Miss Han, for the sake of the fact that we are all the 3 major families in Jiangnan City, I would like to remind you to stay away from Ye Tiance and don't get involved in unnecessary trouble, otherwise even Uncle Han won't be able to protect you." Han Ruoyun narrowed his cold eyes. "Are you threatening me?" Ji Boxiao denied. "I don't mean this." And added with a smile, "Just now you said that you hope Qingcheng will not regret today's decision in the future, but I might as well tell you that this is simply impossible. Because the Rong family in the provincial capital will hold a business meeting the day after tomorrow, Miss Rong Meiyan will personally announce that our Ji family is a business partner, and then our Ji family will mediate and recommend that the Xiao family also become one of the partners." Han Ruoyun raised his eyebrows and said, "So what?" Ji Boxiao said proudly, "When the time comes, the identity gap between Qingcheng and you will only get wider and wider, and it will prove that Qingcheng is right about people, and she will not regret it. Oh. By the way, the latest news just came out, saying that Miss Rong Meiyan decided to invite the big shot behind Mr. Long to attend the meeting the day after tomorrow. At that time, I will ask Miss Rong to intercede and let the big shot order Master Long to cancel the restrictions imposed by Tianlong Group on our Ji family, and the 100 billion order plan that originally belonged to Qingcheng will be restarted. Having said all that, Miss Han, you should understand who the man who is suitable for Qingcheng should be, and not a trash who is disgusted by just one glance, right? Hear the words. Zhang Huilan's face suddenly became overjoyed. Young Master Ji, I am truly worthy of you, Xiao Nan said excitedly. Once our Xiao family becomes a partner of the Rong family, and we can get a 100 billion order from Tianlong Group, who in Jiangnan City will dare to look down on us? We are so envious of that trashy Ye Tiance. Other relatives and friends of the Xiao family also gave thumbs up in support. Even Xiao Qingcheng's eyes were shining with excitement and anticipation. He quickly said to Ji Bo, "Thank you very much. I, Xiao Qingcheng, will definitely repay the kindness you have shown me and the Xiao family." Ji Boxiao waved his hand and said with a smile, "It's a trivial matter, not worth mentioning. As long as you are satisfied with Qingcheng." Then, he sneered at Han Ruoyun and said, "After the meeting the day after tomorrow, I believe that the Rong family and that big shot will favor our Ji family and Xiao family. By then, no matter how arrogant he is, Ye Tiance will be cut off from all avenues of survival in Jiangnan City, and no one will be able to help him. So I remind Ms. Han that you should think carefully about your future relationship with him. My brother is in the ward upstairs. Now, if you go up and take care of him, behave well and become my Ji Boxiao's younger brother and sister, it will be a good thing." Han Ruoyun gritted his teeth and rolled his eyes. What a shame. What does it have to do with this young lady whether he dies or not if he is a lowly guy like your brother? Humph. After saying these words, she left the ward angrily. Dean Wu Xingye and Wu never thought that the treatment he had facilitated would end up like this. I could only sigh in disappointment, shake my head and leave the ward. Zhang Huilan stepped forward. He said to Ji Bo with a flattering look on his face, "Young Master Ji, if you hadn't come with the 2 Taoist priests this time, my old man would have been in trouble. If it's convenient, could you invite the 2 Taoist priests to visit our Xiao family? It's a celebration." Ji Boxiao smiled and said, "Of course it's convenient, but I have to take the 2 Taoist priests upstairs to treat my brother first, and then wait until the business meeting is completed the day after tomorrow. How about we celebrate with a banquet?" Zhang Huilan hurriedly said, "That couldn't be better." Relatives and friends of the Xiao family also nodded excitedly and expectantly. It seemed as if this festive scene was about to happen before our eyes. Xiao Qingcheng took a deep breath, and her expression returned to its former self-confidence and determination. She believed that when she saw the big shot behind Mr. Long the day after tomorrow, she would ask that big shot to explain things clearly. She will definitely get back the 100 billion orders that should belong to her. This way, she would like to see Han Ruoyun's warning to the wrong person and regretful decision. Will it happen? The entrance to the first hospital, Wu Xingye clasped his fists at Ye Tiance and said apologetically, "Mr. Yi, I'm really sorry that I asked you to treat me, but it ended up like this." Ye Tiance shook his head and said, "Dean Wu is overly worried. You didn't mean it. Besides, let it go if it's over. No matter what, he came today to save and cure Xiao Hongming. For this alone, it's not in vain. As for the other Xiao family members, after getting the divorce certificate, I no longer have anything to do with him." Wu Xingye nodded and said, "Mr. Yi, Wu still has many things to deal with, so I will send you here. I will ask you for medical advice another day." After Wu Xingye leaves, Han Ruoyun pursed her lips and said unhappily, "Aren't you always very nice to me? Why are you so embarrassed in front of Xiao Qingcheng? Do you still like her?" Ye Tiance smiled bitterly and said, "How can I like her? It's good that she doesn't become an enemy." Han Ruoyun felt inexplicably relieved. She added, "I just heard from Ji Boxiao that the eldest daughter of the Rong family will hold a business meeting the day after tomorrow, and she also said that she will join forces with the big shot behind Mr. Long to punish you and cut off your livelihood. Have you figured out what to do? If it doesn't work, you can go hide somewhere else. After all, with their power, you can't deal with them by yourself. Ye Tiance said indifferently, I won't hide, let them come as they come, I want to see who is the last person who is cut off from his life. Han Ruoyun rolled his eyes and said, he started bragging again. Although she knew that Ye Tiance could fight, she also knew that Ye Tiance had medical skills, but these are just ways to get around. In the face of real power, it is still far from enough. Now, his father would definitely not step in to help. After all, he had always looked down on Ye Tiance. Then, the only way is to find the Lin family. After all, Uncle Lin promised to make Ye Tiance a guest, I hope they can fulfill their promise. Han Ruoyun recovered his thoughts for a moment, he said to Ye Tiance, hey! Where do you live? Do you want to drive you back? Ye Tiance was about to answer. At this time, a silver Rolls-Royce stopped in front of the two people. Coming down from above was a woman wearing a cheongsam with an outstanding appearance and temperament. She had a charming smile on her face. He greeted Ye Tiance, Mr. Yi, I have found you. Chapter 73 Ji Boxiao sequelae. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Rong Meiyan's sudden appearance surprised Ye Tiance. This woman has an emotional entanglement with Jiangnan war god Lin Feng, what are you looking for him for? But after all, they helped him out twice at the birthday banquet today, so he greeted Rong Meiyan and said, it's you. Thank you for your help at today's birthday banquet. Rong Meiyan smiled lightly and said, you're welcome, I just did what a normal person should do, but Mr. Yi, your performance gave me enough surprises. At this time, Han Ruoyun was standing next to Ye Tiance, looking at Rong Meiyan's eyes. She subconsciously became wary, because the woman in front of her was not inferior to her in any way in appearance or figure. Especially that charming temperament, which even attracts women in a different way. Her intuition told her that this woman's identity was definitely extraordinary. But, how did she know Ye Tiance? What is the relationship with Ye Tiance? Fierce, Han Ruoyun thought that at the tender meeting that night, he seemed to see this woman sitting next to Ye Tiance. Yes, it's her. At this moment, Han Ruoyun suddenly understood, okay. I find it strange that Ye Tiance did not accept the 2,000 million I gave you. Where did you get the 2,000 million to bid for it? It turns out that this woman gave it to me. Thinking of this, Han Ruoyun felt an inexplicable displeasure in his heart. On the other hand, Ye Tiance had no idea what Han Ruoyun was thinking. He also smiled politely at Rong Meiyan and asked, what do you want from me? Rong Meiyan smiled softly and said, it's nothing, I just have two things for you. Send me something. Ye Tiance was confused, he didn't understand how Duan, what did the other party want to give him? Rong Meiyan took out two cards, one is a bank card. One is an invitation card, Rong Meiyan introduced, there is 101 million in this bank card. I should have given it to you at the birthday banquet. I didn't expect you to be asked to leave temporarily, so I had to come after you specifically. As for the other invitation card, please accept it first. I hope you will follow the above requirements and come on time. She handed the two cards to Ye Tiance. He glanced at Han Ruoyun thoughtfully and said, I won't disturb you two anymore. Goodbye. She turned around, got into the silver Rolls-Royce, and drove away. Ye Tiance looked at the car leaving and scratched the back of his head. I always feel like this woman suddenly came to me, as if she was hiding something. Was thinking about it, Han Ruoyun's weird voice sounded next to her, ouch. The beauties have driven away, and someone's eyes are eager to stick to her. Come to think of it, she has long legs, a big breasts, a big butt, and a pretty face. How can she be willing to look at her less than twice? Ye Tiance said speechlessly, what are you talking about? To be honest, I don't even know her name or what she does. However, these words made Han Ruoyun's expression even more strange. She gritted her teeth and said, haha. You don't even know your name, but you dare to accept money from others. Ye Tiance, no wonder people say you like to eat soft food. I have seen it today. Ye Tiance said helplessly, what are you doing for free? This 101 million is actually. Han Ruoyun waved her hand directly and said, I don't want to hear your explanation. In fact, what she is most upset about is not that Ye Tiance collects money from women indiscriminately, but that since you, Ye Tiance, like to collect money from women, why was this lady rejected when I offered you 2,000 million, instead, a woman whose name you don't know gave you money and accepted it? Isn't this a blatant double standard? Or are you saying that my figure and appearance are not as good as those of the other party? The more he thought about it, the angrier Han Ruoyun became. Ye Tiance still doesn't know what Han Ruoyun is thinking. He also smiled and said, if you don't explain, you won't explain. By the way, you just said you would drive me back. When should we set off? Unexpectedly, Han Ruoyun didn't give him a good look. He said angrily, what a fart. Just walk back by yourself. Put down this sentence. Han Ruoyun turned around angrily and walked away quickly, his chest rising and falling. After these 2 days of contact, she gradually discovered that Ye Tiance still had merits and was not as useless as the legend said. That's why I just spoke to Ye Tiance in the ward. But he didn't expect that it was his nature to live on soft food and hang out with rich women. This bastard, the bottom man. This lady will never talk to you again. Snort. It's better to be the big shot behind Master Long. As for Ye Tiance, that bastard, just stay where you can. Han Ruoyun got into her Maserati, kicked the accelerator and ran away. Ye Tiance, who stayed where he was, felt baffled. He shook his head and said, this woman's mood changes at a moment's notice. Could it be that her aunt is here? Forget it, stay away from her in the future. He put his bank card in his pocket. He looked at the invitation card carefully again and his pupils shrank. He discovered that this invitation card was actually from a business meeting held by Rong Meiyan the day after tomorrow. Why does this woman have such an invitation card? Could it be that her identity is? Ye Tiance made a bold guess. But then he quickly shook his head. Impossible. If she is Rong Meiyan, as the eldest lady of the Rong family, how can she be Lin Feng's lover? Besides, at today's birthday banquet, Rong Meiyan's personal assistant personally announced that she would not come to the birthday banquet. This woman was present at the birthday banquet at that time, and there was obviously a conflict. It seems that she actually has another identity. Although a little curious, but Ye Tiance didn't think much about it. After all, he had too many things to do. Ye Tiance murmured softly, since Han Ruoyun is gone, I will find a way to go back by myself. At the same time, a high-end ward on the 6th floor of Jiangnan First Hospital, on the hospital bed, Ji Boxiao was lying in a coma due to severe injuries. Beside the hospital bed, Ji Wuli, Ji Boduan, and relatives and friends of the Ji family stood, all looking anxious and expectant. Taoist priest Yunlong was checking Ji Boxiao's body. After a while, Taoist master Yunlong stood up and said slowly, the inspection has been completed. Ji Wuli hurriedly asked, Taoist master Yunlong, how is my Bo Zhao's condition? Do you have any way to treat him? Taoist master Yunlong smiled confidently. Although second young master Ji is seriously injured, Pindao is fully confident in the treatment. With Pindo's method, it only takes 3 days for second young master Ji to fully recover, just like an ordinary person. Hearing this, everyone in the Ji family looked overjoyed. It only takes 3 days for such a serious injury to fully recover. Such medical skills are simply superb. However, Taoist master Yunlong continued, but there is something to say beforehand. Using Pindo's treatment method will leave some sequelae for young master Ji. Is that okay? Ji Wuli's eyelids twitched and he asked worriedly, I dare to ask, sir, what are the sequelae? Taoist priest Yunlong smiled and replied, hey, it's not a big deal. It's just that Ji Erxiao's physiological functions will be slightly affected. To put it simply, he may not be able to get hard in the future. Chapter 74 Ye Tiance, are you still delivering food? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Taoist priest Yunlong's words made everyone in the Ji family change their expressions. Ji Wuli said in surprise, Taoist master Yunlong, how can this not be a big deal? If my family, Bo Xiao, has a problem in that area, how will he get married in the future and pass on the family lineage to the Ji family? Ji Boduan also said anxiously, Taoist priest, my brother is not married yet. The rest of the Ji family also found it difficult to accept. In fact, they all know very well that Ji Boxiao is a face-saving person who usually likes to mess around with women outside. If you can't even be a man from now on, I'm afraid it would be worse than killing him. Taoist Master Yunlong glanced at them and said, Master Ji, don't you have a son? Are you worried about continuing the family line? Although this statement makes sense, but Ji Wuli still couldn't accept this result. At this time, Taoist Master Gongsun advised, Master Ji, I can understand your mood, but you don't need to be too pessimistic. Didn't you hear what my senior brother said? Second young Master Ji may not be able to harden up, but he didn't say for sure. Besides, my senior brother has profound Taoist teachings and superb medical skills. Even if he has serious sequelae, I think he will find a way to cure it. Ji Wuli quickly nodded and said, yes, yes, yes. Then he cupped his hands to Taoist Yunlong and said, please Taoist Yunlong to treat me. As for the remuneration, our Ji family will not be stingy. Taoist Master Yunlong nodded, okay, Pindao will treat me right now. You can go out and wait. Yes, everyone in the Ji family came outside the ward. After closing the ward door, a cold look appeared in Ji Wuli's eyes, and he said to Ji Bo, send people to keep an eye on Ye Tiance these days, don't let that bastard escape Jiangnan City. When Miss Ho Tianrong's business meeting is over, I must unite all forces to cut off this person's life and avenge your brother. Ji Budwan nodded heavily. Ji Wuli added, there is also the Xiao Qingcheng you are pursuing. This woman has excellent looks and abilities, but she has a strong personality and is not easy to control. Are you sure you can grasp her? Ji Budwan said confidently, Dad, don't worry. After Ye Tiance and her go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get the divorce certificate tomorrow, I will confess to Xiao Qingcheng. As long as she nods and agrees, I will take her down in one fell swoop. Then the entire Xiao family will naturally be under my control. How I want to control it is just a matter of my words. Hey. Ji Wuli nodded with satisfaction, this is the best. In the evening, Zijin Tiangong in Jiangnan City, Ye Tiance rode a small yellow electric donkey he just bought towards Zijin Villa No. 1. The reason why I decided to buy a small e-mule temporarily was for the convenience of traveling. Although in the fallen city, he learned to drive from a certain imprisoned F1 racing guy, and his driving skills are definitely comparable to those of professional racing drivers. But after returning to China, he stayed silent in the Xiao family for 3 years and did not take the driver's license test, so until he takes the time to get his driver's license in the near future, he can only use a small e-mule for travel expenses. Soon, Ye Tiance arrived at Villa No. 1, parked the car, when taking out the packaged fried rice noodles from the cart basket. But he saw a familiar figure walking towards him from the courtyard. I couldn't help but be stunned. Is it her? This woman had just parted at the door of the hospital, and we met here again. At this time, Rong Meiyan also noticed Ye Tiance. I couldn't help but be stunned. Mr. Yi, why are you here? It happened suddenly. Ye Tiance didn't know how to answer. If he answered that he lived in Villa No. 1, the other party would definitely pester him to ask about Lin Feng's whereabouts. When the time comes, I won't be able to shake it off cleanly. It will be even more troublesome if top-secret information such as the fallen city is revealed again. Rong Meiyan glanced at the fried rice noodles packed in Ye Tiance's hand, and then saw the yellow battery car parked next to him. It seems that I understand something. Then he subconsciously asked, Mr. Yi, are you here to deliver food? Ye Tiance's eyes lit up. He quickly nodded along with her words and said, yes. I'm just here to deliver food. What a coincidence that I can meet you here, huh? Listening to Ye Tiance's dry laughter, Rong Meiyan was somewhat confused. She couldn't understand that Ye Tiance was able to get 2,000 million from Miss Han's family to bid for, and then got 101 million from himself. How could he be reduced to delivering food? Could it be that he had some psychological problems after being bullied in the Xiao family for 3 years? Is that why you did this? Rong Meiyan didn't think much about this issue. Instead, he pointed at Villa No. 1 and changed the topic and asked Ye Tiance, Mr. Yi, you have delivered food before. Have you seen the residents here? Isn't he very handsome and handsome? Ye Tiance instantly remembered Lin Feng's face that could scare a child into crying. It has nothing to do with being brave and handsome, right? Exactly. Lin Fengkai, rarely showed his true face to others and always wore a mask. Ye Tiance naturally would not tell the truth, but replied, "It's my first time here too, I haven't seen him before." A flash of disappointment flashed in Rong Meiyan's eyes, and she said, "Okay, then I won't bother you with your takeout delivery. Goodbye." After Rong Meiyan left, Ye Tiance breathed a sigh of relief. "I didn't expect this woman to move into the community because of Lin Feng. It seems that from now on, you should be more careful when moving in the community." Ye Tiance murmured and entered Villa number 1 directly. On the other hand, Rong Meiyan returned to her villa. The maid Qing looked forward to asking, "Have you seen the Jiangnan god of war this time?" Rong Meiyan shook her head and said, "I still haven't seen it, however, I discovered a new situation. Jiangnan god of war can actually order takeout. Coincidentally, it was delivered by Ye Tiance." "Ye Tiance delivers takeout?" Qing was stunned for a moment, then curled his lips and said, "It's not surprising that a son-in-law who was expelled from the Xiao family delivers takeaways. I really don't understand what you think of him, young lady." Rong Meiyan shook her head and said, "Delivering food does not mean that he is not good, maybe, it is just his personal preference." "Okay." Qing nodded absently. He sighed with emotion. "I didn't expect that the Jiangnan god of war, with such a high position, would order takeout. It seems that he must be lacking a woman to take care of him in his life." There was a smug light in her eyes and she said, "Miss, you have to work harder. As the saying goes, the first to get the moon is the one closest to the water. Maybe that woman is you." Rong Meiyan blushed and pretended to be angry. "I hate it. If you keep talking nonsense, I'll tear your mouth apart." Qing ran away quickly. Rong Meiyan leaned on the sofa, rarely relaxing. She held her phone and clicked on an online novel. As the saying goes, every man has a heroic dream when he is young, and every woman has a dream to marry a hero when she is a girl. The same goes for Rong Meiyan. In fact, very few people know that the greatest joy of Rong Meiyan, known as the goddess of business, is not managing business and controlling a business empire. Instead, she reads online novels, because only when reading novels can she rarely enjoy freedom and relaxation. In the novel, those male protagonists who pretend to be pigs and eat tigers are strong and responsible. He is Rong Meiyan's ideal partner. She always felt that only such an outstanding man could be worthy of her. It's a pity that in reality, there is only one such man. However, a few years ago, when she heard about the legendary story of Jiangnan war god Lin Feng, she gradually developed admiration for this strange hero she had never seen before. So much so that every time she reads a novel, she subconsciously transforms the male protagonist into a Jiangnan god of war. But I don't know why, after she clicked on the novel today, her thoughts couldn't help but think of the scenes of Ye Tiance at today's birthday party. Even the male protagonist in the novel has changed from Jiangnan god of war to Ye Tiance. This made her unable to calm down for a long time. Rong Meiyan quickly put down her phone. A little panic appeared in his eyes. "What's wrong with me? Why do I always think of him?" "No. Rong Meiyan, you have to calm down. You must calm down. You are not a half-hearted person. Take a few deep breaths to calm down." But when she caught a glimpse of the painting with the words "King of the World" placed on the coffee table, coincidentally, the image of Ye Tiance lingers in my mind even more. Chapter 75 Treasure Pavilion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day, at 7 o'clock in the morning, Ye Tiance took various identity documents and rode a battery car to leave Zijin Tiangong. He has something important to accomplish today. Go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to apply for divorce from Xiao Qingcheng. From then on, the two have no connection. When Ye Tiance left the ward yesterday, he told Xiao Qingcheng that the time to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau was 10 o'clock in the morning. It's still early, so Ye Tiance planned to deal with another matter before going to the Civil Affairs Bureau, that is to repair the tiger-shaped jade pendant left behind by Grandpa. After all, this is the only relic left by Grandpa. Now that he was broken in half by that bastard Ji Boxiao, he couldn't just let it go. 20 minutes later, Ye Tiance came to the Mtlnovel Pavilion in Jiangnan City. The so-called Treasure Pavilion is actually a shop selling antiques, jade carvings and other treasures. It is located on Antique Street, covers a large area, and is famous in Jiangnan City. Many dignitaries will come here to buy jade carvings and spend countless amounts of money. The reason why the Jade Treasure Pavilion has such influence is that its owner is Xia Ping, a master of jade carving. It is said that any jade in his hands will be carved lifelike, and his works are of great artistic value. Ye Tiance came to Mtlnovel Pavilion today just to find Master Xia Ping and ask him if there was any way to replace the tiger-shaped jade pendant. Entering the Jumbo Pavilion, what comes into view is the splendid interior of the store, with display cases filled with a dazzling array of jades and antiques. In the center of the store, there is a green mountain in clear water more than 1 foot high, carved from jade. The sapphire green mountains and white jade clear water contrast with each other and are lifelike. There is a sign next to green mountains and clear waters. The above introduction says that this is a work carefully carved by Master Xia Ping 5 years ago, and it is his most proud masterpiece. A wealthy businessman once wanted to spend 3,000 million to buy it, but Master Xia refused and kept it in the store as a treasure. Ye Tiance casually asked an apprentice clerk, "Is Master Xia Ping here? I want to find him." The apprentice looked Ye Tiance up and down and found that he was wearing very ordinary clothes. Then he said impatiently, "Who are you?" "My master is busy." "Can you just see him if you want?" That Ye Tiance frowned. "Do you think that the apprentice of Mtlnovel Pavilion has such an arrogant temper?" At this time, there was a sudden noise not far away. Ye Tiance turned around and saw that a young customer had a dispute with several apprentices there. Boom! The young man was suddenly punched by an apprentice and took several steps back. The young man covered his face and cursed with a foreign accent, "You are a black shop. You cheated me out of jade, and you even hit people. Are you honest?" Everyone give in. That a slightly fat middle-aged man wearing gold-rimmed glasses came out from behind the apprentice, somewhat like a smiling tiger. The middle-aged man narrowed his eyes and sneered, "Young man, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't talk nonsense. If you say our Mtlnovel Pavilion is a black shop, do you believe that I will sue you for spreading rumors and go to jail? You. The young man pointed at the middle-aged man and was so angry that he couldn't speak, so he turned around and complained loudly to the customers in the store, "Everyone, listen to me. I'm from out of town, and I've heard that Jiangnan City's Mtlnovel Pavilion is very good at carving jade, so the day before yesterday, I brought a piece of high-quality blue and white jade to the Mtlnovel Pavilion to ask Master Xia Ping to carve a jade bracelet. But Master Xia Ping was very busy. It was this master named Sun Kai who accepted my blue and white jade and asked me to come and pick it up a day later. Unexpectedly, this morning I came to pick up the goods. The bracelet was carved, but I found that it was not the high-quality green and white jade I brought. Instead, it had been swapped." As he spoke, he raised a green and white bracelet high in his left hand and said, "Look, this is the bracelet Sun Kai gave me." In his right hand, he raised his mobile phone to show a photo and said, "This is the high-quality green and white jade I brought the day before yesterday. Let's compare it and see if Mtlnovel Pavilion changed my bracelet." That everyone came forward to compare carefully, and couldn't help but talk about it. "This bracelet has mixed stripes, and the texture and light feel are very average. It looks like the cheapest kind. I guess it's not even worth 200 yuan. The green and white jade in the photo has a fine texture and a warm luster. It is indeed top quality. The bracelet carved with it will never look like this. Is this jade really transferred? But Master Sun Kai is Master Xia's first disciple and the future heir of Mtlnovel Pavilion. How could he do such a thing? You don't know something. Some time ago, Sun Kai got into gambling and lost a lot, so he decided to secretly transfer jade from customers to make a profit. I heard that several customers have suffered losses recently, but due to the Mtlnovel Pavilion, fame and power can only suffer the consequences of being dumb. Ah. You still want to do this? Master Xia Ping actually doesn't care about his first disciple. Everyone was talking, making Sun Kai look a little ugly. He hurriedly explained to the customers, "Everyone, please don't listen to the rumors from the outside world. We at Mtlnovel Pavilion have always done business with fairness and integrity. I, Sun Kai, am even more capable. How could I possibly do such a dirty deed? Everything is just a matter of this kid spewing blood and fabricating facts out of thin air. You said I changed the bag, so I want to ask you, where did the green and white jade bracelet go after I changed the bag? Can you provide evidence? Just as he finished speaking, a middle-aged man in a suit and leather shoes walked out of the store. Ye Tiance turned around and saw that it was a familiar face. Liu Ruyan, chairman of Ningyuan Group. He had a smile on his face and a wooden box in his hand. When he walked to Sun Kai, he said with a satisfied smile, as expected of Master Sun Kai, his carving skills are so superb that he can almost rival your master, Master Xia Ping. As he spoke, he opened the wooden box. I saw a blue and white jade bracelet lying inside. It had a delicate texture and a soft luster, just like oil. The blue and white were mixed and complemented each other. Seeing it, the beaten young man's eyes suddenly widened. He pointed at the green and white jade bracelet in Liu Ruyan's box and shouted, "This is the bracelet I was transferred to. Give it back to me, give it back to me." That the customers present looked over and made a judgment in their hearts. As jade lovers, they could naturally tell that the green and white jade bracelet in Liu Ruyan's hand was of the same grade as the green and white jade in the young man's cell phone photo. Obviously, Liu Ruyan's green and white jade bracelet was the one that the young man had been replaced with. But the truth is the truth. But facing Master Sun Kai of Treasure Pavilion and Liu Ruyan, chairman of Ningyuan Group, these customers dare not offend. So everyone remained silent, and no one stood up for justice for the young man. What's more, this young man is from out of town, he has never met him, and he won't be able to help. At this time, a stern look flashed in Sun Kai's eyes. He said coldly, "Little brat, you have repeatedly slandered my Treasure Pavilion without repentance. If I don't teach you a lesson today, I'm afraid you won't remember it for a long time. Come, break his legs, throw him out, and he will not be allowed to step into the antique street from now on." Yes, two tall security guards came to the door carrying rubber sticks, not at all muddle-headed. He hit the young man hard. Chapter 76. It's time for the Treasure Pavilion to close. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The rubber stick was about to fall on the young man. A figure suddenly appeared in front of him, raised his hands, and firmly grasped the other end of the rubber stick. This person is Ye Tiance. The two security guards were stunned for a moment, and subconsciously tried to pull back the rubber stick with force, but I found that the rubber stick seemed to be tightly held by a giant pliers, unable to move at all. Instead, Ye Tiance pulled him back slightly and snatched the rubber stick away. The two security guards were also staggered and fell flat on the spot. Ye Tiance threw the rubber stick on the ground. He said coldly, "On behalf of Treasure Pavilion, you keep saying that doing business requires integrity, but on the contrary, you use this method to deal with customers. Isn't it inappropriate?" That Ye Tiance's sudden appearance made Sun Kai's eyes flash with anger. His voice deepened and he asked, "Who are you? Why are you meddling in my Treasure Pavilion?" That without waiting for Ye Tiance to answer, at this time, Liu Ruyan saw Ye Tiance. His expression changed and he pointed at Ye Tiance and said, "Ju, it's actually you." Sun Kai asked, "Do you know him?" Liu Ruyan had a calm face and gritted his teeth and said, "It's more than just acquaintance. Just because this kid made trouble at Lord Long's tendering meeting a few days ago, our group was blacklisted by Tianlong Group, not to mention that, yesterday he made crazy trouble at the Ji family leader's birthday banquet. Not only did he ruin the birthday banquet, but he also severely injured the second young master Ji. He was simply a madman." Hearing this, the eyes of the customers present as well as Sun Kai and others jumped. This kid is actually Ye Tiance. You must know that those who can come here to shop are either rich or expensive, and they have channels to understand what is happening in some business circles in Jiangnan City. Naturally, they also heard about the recent major events at the Tendering Chamber of Commerce and Ji Wuli's birthday banquet. For a time, it caused many people to whisper, "Let me go, he is the legendary Ye Tiance, right? He provoked Master Long, Master Hu, and the madmen of the Ji family in a few days. Not only that, I also heard that he pretended to be a doctor to treat Mayor Lin's father and got into great trouble. Yesterday, he was arrested by Deputy Bureau Wang's team. But how did he escape? No wonder you dare to make trouble in the Treasure Pavilion. It turns out that the occupational disease causing trouble has occurred. Let's stay away." That Ye Tiance turned a deaf ear to the comments around him. He turned around and asked the young man behind him, "Are you okay?" that the young man swallowed nervously, shook his head and said, I'm fine. Thank you, sir, for your help. He paused and said hesitantly, but I heard that Jinbao Pavilion is very powerful in Jiangnan City. You don't have to provoke them for me. I can think of a way on my own. Please leave quickly, don't let them retaliate against you. There was a hint of appreciation in Ye Tiance's eyes. Although this young man is not old, he is quite responsible. Ye Tiance smiled lightly and said, Don't worry, I, Ye Tiance, have never been afraid of revenge. I only know that people with black hearts who bully others should be punished. He turned to look at Sun Kai and said coldly, Remind you, return the transferred blue and white jade bracelet to this young man, and then apologize to him. Don't affect the reputation of Jinbao Pavilion, and don't smear the face of the entire Jiangnan city. Sun Kai snorted coldly in his nose and said, Ye Tiance, I have heard your name recently, but I would like to remind you, don't rely on yourself to cause trouble everywhere, and raise your tail to the sky before you are punished. I leave my words here today. Jinbao Pavilion is not a place where you can cause trouble. Otherwise, you will definitely not be able to eat and walk around. When saying these words, Sun Kai himself was very confident. Don't look at Jinbao Pavilion as just a jade carving antique store. However, due to the identity of the pavilion owner, Master Xia Ping, the influence of Jinbao Pavilion in some places is much stronger than that of the three major families. After all, Master Xia Ping has a wide range of friends. Not only the upper-class figures in Jiangnan City, but also many dignitaries in the provincial capital have a close relationship with Master Xia Ping. Anyone who offends the Jinbao Pavilion only needs a wave of Master Xia Ping's arms to send him to the 18th level of hell. But facing the threat from Sun Kai, Ye Tiance didn't care at all, shook his head and said, Jade represents nobility and purity in Chinese civilization, but I didn't expect that the famous Jinbao Pavilion actually hides dirt and bullies others. In my opinion, this kind of shop should be closed. As soon as this statement came out, the scene was in an uproar. Sun Kai's face turned livid with anger, and he shouted angrily, Young man, if you dare to be so disrespectful to my treasure pavilion, I'll see if I don't deal with you severely. Sun Kai cursed, he raised his fist and hit Ye Tiance. He usually likes fighting, but he thinks he can face 3 or 4 adults with ease. It's no big deal to teach a young boy a lesson today. However, his fist did not wait to hit Ye Tiance's face. Instead, the opponent grabbed his fist and kicked Sun Kai in the abdomen. Boom! Although this kick was not heavy, Sun Kai kicked him back 3 or 4 meters, and he almost fell to his knees on the ground. Sun Kai held his stomach and gasped, sweating from the pain. Is this kid so powerful in combat? What did you eat growing up? Ye Tiance turned around and said to Li Jingye, hand over the green and white jade bracelet and return it to its owner. Li Jingye narrowed his eyes and snorted coldly, Ye Tiance, do you know who this blue and white jade bracelet was given to, so you dare to take it back from me? Ye Tiance raised his eyebrows and asked, Oh. I would like to know who it is. Li Jingye straightened his back and said with a domineering attitude, It's Miss Rong Meiyan, the eldest daughter of the Rong family. Li had heard that Miss Rong liked jade carvings, so he planned to give this green and white jade bracelet to her. Do you have the guts to go back? The onlookers were whispering. It turned out to be a gift for Miss Han. No wonder Director Li is so generous. Rong Meiyan is holding a meet and greet tomorrow. I heard that many of the guests attending the Chamber of Commerce are busy preparing various gifts in private in order to leave a good impression on Miss Rong for the first time. It turns out that Miss Rong has a distinguished status. If it is a gift given to her, even he, Ye Tiance, would not dare to ask for it anymore. It's not just the customers present who think so. Li Jingye himself was convinced that Ye Tiance would quit after hearing Rong Meiyan's name. But it was beyond his expectation. Ye Tiance couldn't see any fear or panic and said, Don't talk about the gift for Rong Meiyan, you are the gift for the head of the Rong family. I, Ye Tiance, must take care of you. Li Jingye's eyes widened in anger, you. But he didn't dare to do anything to Ye Tiance. After all, he had seen how ruthless the other party was, more than once. If you get desperate, wouldn't it be a big loss if you try to beat yourself up? Just when he was in danger, a slightly older voice sounded at the door. I heard that someone is making trouble in my Jinbao pavilion. Who is it? Come forward and show me. Chapter 77. Your jade carving skills are not top-notch. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I saw an old man wearing a yellow tang suit with silver hair walking in. Master Xia. Master Xia. Master. Master. Everyone present greeted him with respect. Sun Kai clutched his stomach and trotted over, pointing at Ye Tiance. The villain first complained, Master, it is this man named Ye Tiance who is causing trouble in our treasure pavilion. He beat me and the security guard without saying anything, and threatened to close our Jinbao pavilion. You must not let him go. Xia Ping nodded, looking at Ye Tiance. He said in a condescending tone, I have heard of your reputation, Ye Tiance, and you have been very popular in Jiangnan City recently. I want to remind you that no matter what your background and purpose are, it is not a wise move to cause trouble in Jinbao Pavilion. Now I order you to apologize to my apprentice and the security guards and make compensation. You will no longer be held responsible for this matter. In Xia Ping's view, such a result was enough to tolerate Ye Tiance. Unexpectedly, Ye Tiance sneered and said, They say that you, Xia Ping, are a master of jade carving. I understand that a master must not only have superb skills, but also have outstanding conduct, but you, without even asking the whole story, made a hasty judgment indiscriminately. It can be seen that you, Xia Ping, are not worthy of the title of master. There was an uproar in the store. Ye Tiance is so bold, he dares to say that Xia Ping is not worthy of the title of master. How could anyone in the entire Jiangnan city dare to say such a thing to him? How audacious! Xia Ping frowned slightly, turned around and asked Sun Kai, Let me ask you, what happened? A hint of guilt appeared in Sun Kai's eyes, however, he still made up nonsense on the surface and put all the responsibilities on Ye Tiance. Sun Kai also added, Master, what I say is true. You can ask your junior brothers. Xia Ping asked the apprentices in the store, You are all witnesses, tell us about the situation. The apprentices in the store looked at each other, although they were unwilling to deceive Xia Ping, they were even less willing to offend Sun Kai. After all, Master is usually not in the store, so they have to deal with Sun Kai more. If you are offended, you will definitely be punished in the future. So the apprentices said one after another. Master, everything that senior brother Sun said is true. It was the young man and Ye Tiance who deliberately caused trouble. Senior brother Sun is right, please don't let those two people go, it's not just them, even Li Jingye said, Master Xia Ping, Li can also testify that what Master Sun Kai said is true, that there are so many people testifying for Sun Kai. Xia Ping naturally no longer had any doubts, he said seriously to Ye Tiance, I already know the whole story. I believe that you and the young man behind you are playing tricks on each other to mess up the treasure pavilion. What else do you want to make excuses for? The young man was so angry that he trembled all over and said, Master Xia Ping, they are lying and slandering. It was Sun Kai who had obviously transferred my blue and white jade, and yet they raked it up. You must be aware of it. Xia Ping put his hands behind his back and said in a condescending manner, I have already made a decision, is it your turn to teach me how to do things? Hear the words, Ye Tiance sneered, this Xia Ping must have been surrounded by too many flattering people on weekdays, so that he was confused and couldn't even distinguish basic right from wrong. Sun Kai glared and scolded, Yi, what the hell are you laughing at? Why don't you apologize to us quickly? Especially to my master, you have to kneel down and apologize. Your attitude must be serious. Ye Tiance raised his eyebrows and said calmly, so what about your master? Are you worthy of letting me kneel down and apologize? Sun Kai said proudly, my master is the #1 jade carver in Jiangnan City, and he is also the presence of Taishan Beidou in the entire Tiannan province carving community. The followers who like his carvings are all dignitaries and heroes. Once my master is angered, those followers can kill you to pieces in an instant with just one order. Show off in the face of threats. Ye Tiance glanced at the dazzling array of jade carvings on the shelves, he shook his head and said, your master's level of sculpture is only third-rate, but he is still worthy of having so many followers. It shows that those people have a bad vision. that this sentence is like one stone causing thousands of waves. Oh my god, this guy actually satirized Master Xia Ping's works as third-rate works. Is he so crazy? If such words reach the ears of those followers, they will definitely not let him go, that except for customers, the apprentices of Zhenbao Pavilion were all eyes wide with anger. In their opinion, their master's jade carving skills are the best, so they choose to study under him. Now he has become a third-rate thing in the eyes of this boy. I really can't bear it. At this time, even Xia Ping's face became slightly ugly. He said coldly, "Young man, if you point out other convenience issues for me, maybe I won't argue with you, but this is jade carving. I have been learning from the master since I was a child, practicing Sanjiu in the winter and Sanfu in the summer. Now I have reached a level of 16, and the broken jade alone can hold 5 trains of leather. I'm not boasting, no one is qualified in jade carving. I dare to say that my level is only third-rate. I really don't know where did you get the confidence." This statement came out. Sun Kai quickly echoed, "Did you hear what my master said? You, a kid who may have never even touched jade, have the right to slander my master's carving skills." That Ye Tiance put his hands behind his back, disappointed. He shook his head and said, "You have practiced jade for 5 trains of times to reach this level? Then I may have to take back what I just said. Your master is not a third-rate master, but a second-rate master, not popular." These 3 words speak loud and clear. Deafening. Xia Ping's old face is very ugly. He said solemnly, "Young man, you keep belittling my sculpting skills, why don't you show your level? If your level can surpass me, I will fully accept everything you said today. Otherwise, you can't bear the responsibility of me being angry." Ye Tiance chuckled and said, "My sculpting level is just better than yours, so what's the difficulty?" That everyone present burst into laughter. Ha! This young boy is really good at it. Carving jade requires time and experience. Which famous master didn't start at the age of 50? How can he, a boy in his 20s, know how to carve? That's right, after I became a disciple, I spent 5 years just learning how to hold a sword. This is also due to my extremely strong talent. A brat dares to surpass my master, but he needs a lesson. A hint of cunning flashed in Sun Kai's eyes, and he said, "Boy, let's not talk in vain. What will happen if your level is not as good as my master's?" Ye Tiance said calmly, "Let you do whatever you want, I won't frown." "It is good." Sun Kai nodded quickly. Ye Tiance asked in return, "What if my level exceeds that of your master?" "So what?" Sun Kai rolled his eyes. How could his master, the majestic jade carving master, lose? Instead, Xia Ping asked calmly, "What do you want?" Ye Tiance looked calm and said, "I want you to do 2 things. First, return the green and white jade bracelet that Sun Kai transferred to others. Second, from now on, your title of Xia Ping Master Sculptor will be removed from the 2 suffixes of master, because you are not worthy." Chapter 78 The Highest Realm of Sculpture. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Tiance's words immediately aroused dissatisfaction among the people around him. This kid actually dares to deprive Xia Ping of his master title. It's really lawless. Xia Ping himself said indifferently, "If your sculpting skills are really better than me, I will deprive myself of the title of master without you having to tell me. In short, I agreed to both of your conditions, now I want to see your carving skills." Ye Tiance stretched out his right hand and said, "Bring the carving knife." An apprentice handed a carving knife to Ye Tiance with disdain. At this time, the young man behind Ye Tiance whispered, "Sir, I can't thank you enough for standing up for me. You don't have to do this for me anymore. I'm worried." In his opinion, Master Xia Ping's sculpting skills are famous throughout Tiannan province. The young man in front of him was almost the same age as him. How could he be more powerful than Xia Ping? Therefore, this bet will definitely lose. When the time comes, given the despicable characters of Sun Kai and others, they will definitely not give up easily, so he didn't want Ye Tiance to be involved in this unnecessary disaster. Ye Tiance said with a confident smile, "Don't worry, just put it in your stomach." Talking, he walked straight to a rough jade stone more than 1 foot high on the shelf. "That's it. Help me cut it out." Ye Tiance took it down and put it on the case. A cutting craftsman in the store uses a small cutting machine to cut the surface shell of the rough jade stone. Swish. After a few minutes, the outer shell was completely cleaned, revealing the original appearance of the jade inside. Everyone took a closer look and were shocked. Let me go, it's actually a piece of blue and white jade. The quality is extremely rare. The price of bare jade alone can be sold for at least 500 million. I'm afraid it's more than 800 million. I think it's almost exactly the same quality as the treasure of Mtlnovel Pavilion, green mountains and clear waters. This kid is really lucky. He picked a piece of jade at random and it turned out to be a high-quality jade. It's a pity that it will be destroyed in his hands. Sun Kai's eyes widened. He didn't expect that the raw jade stone that Ye Tiance randomly ordered was high-quality blue and white jade. This probability is comparable to winning the lottery. He frowned. He said, "My surname is Yi. I remind you that this piece of green and white jade is the asset of our Mtlnovel Pavilion. If you break the carving and cause all losses, you will have to bear it in the end. Of course, if you're scared, it's not too late to admit defeat, because you won't win anyway." Ye Tiance turned a deaf ear. He mobilized the dark energy in his body, held the carving knife and began to walk on the blue and white jade. Swish swish. The blade is sharp, dragons and phoenixes are flying, but you are calm and calm. In an instant, he attracted the attention of everyone present. This kid can actually carve. Even Xia Ping's expression turned serious. You must know that the most basic element of jade carving is knife skills. To develop powerful knife skills requires accumulation over time and thousands of times. Therefore, sword skills are divided into strong and weak levels. Generally speaking, there are 3 levels of engraving knife skills. The first level is that people are like swords. I am the sword, and the sword is me. Most carving craftsmen spend their entire lives in this realm. The second level is that the heart is like a knife. There is a knife in the heart, and wherever the heart goes, it is where the carving knife goes. There are very few craftsmen who can reach this state, and they are all top craftsmen with a reputation. As for the third level, the man and the knife are integrated into one, reaching the state of no self and no knife. No matter what kind of carving knife is used, no matter what object is carved, there is no disadvantage. Now Xia Ping has just touched the threshold of this realm and has already won the title of Master Sculptor. This shows how difficult it is to reach the third level and how rare it is. But at this time, Xia Ping observed Ye Tiance and was surprised to find that this person's sculpture level was not the first level, nor the second level, nor even the third level. It is the legendary top level above the third level, return to nature. The knife is the knife. I am me, I am a part of heaven and earth. But I am beyond the mysterious realm beyond heaven and earth. In the entire world, only the extremely rare and terrifying existences in legend can reach such a level of swordsmanship. No matter which one it is, those are enough to be the masters of the sect, and they are at least 60 years old. And how did he, a boy in his 20s, do it? Of course, it was a shock, but he still didn't believe that Ye Tiance could carve a better work than him, because knife skills are only a part of jade carving. More importantly, it requires a strong artistic aesthetic and natural design ability. Otherwise, no matter how good your knife skills are, it will be in vain. Swish swish. At the same time, Ye Tiance's carving speed was getting faster and faster, reaching a point where it was dizzying. Finally 15 minutes later, Ye Tiance flicked his right hand, put away the knife and stood up. "You're done." When everyone saw clearly the carved work on the case, everyone was shocked and speechless. I saw that Ye Tiance also carved this piece of blue and white jade into the treasure of Mtlnovel Pavilion, green mountains and clear waters. Langbuting looks exactly the same, but if you look closely, you will find that there is a world of difference. The green mountains and clear waters carved by Xia Ping have a delicate, beautiful and lifelike structure, which can be regarded as a top-notch work of art, but in Ye Tiance's green mountains and clear waters, every tree on the green mountains is alive, and the clear water is really flowing, just like the real nature. It has gone far beyond the scope of art. When everyone looks at it, they feel as if they are in this world, unable to extricate themselves and completely immersed in it. He didn't speak when he saw everyone, Ye Tiance reminded and asked, "Everyone, what do you think of my sculptures? Is it okay to say so?" This reminder finally brought everyone back to reality, customers praised and sighed. The same, green mountains and clear waters has created two situations, one is just similar in appearance, and the other is real. Such a gap is like heaven and earth. This work is simply perfect. There is no fault at all. How can I, a little scumbag, dare to comment? A work of this level would take at least several days or even months to carve, even if it were carved by a master, but he carved it in just 15 minutes. It was an eye-opener for me, that it's not just these customers, even the apprentices in Mtlnovel Pavilion are still in a state of shock. As jade carving craftsmen, they deeply realized that it would be impossible for them to make a carving of Ye Tiance level in 10 lifetimes. Sun Kai adjusted his glasses nervously, sweating profusely. This result was far beyond expectations. Li Jingye swallowed nervously. He just felt incredible. I can't even figure out why every time I meet Ye Tiance, this guy always does things that are beyond the norm. Of course, the most excited person present was Xia Ping. His body was trembling as he walked to the green mountains and clear waters carved by Ye Tiance, and took out the magnifying glass he carried with him to observe every corner carefully. His expression was shocked, excited, and dazed. It can be said that the emotions are a mixture of emotions. Wait until all the details are read. He took a deep breath, he actually faced Ye Tiance and knelt down with a plop. Chapter 79 Xia Ping's Decision. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ga. Everyone was shocked. What type of situation is this? Li Jingye couldn't help but said, "Master Xia Ping, what are you doing? Why do you kneel down to that man named Yi?" Xia Ping shook his head repeatedly and said seriously, "Don't call me master, I am nothing but a master. In the field of jade carving, Mr. Yi is the real master, and I am not even as good as an apprentice in front of you." Xia Ping said to Ye Tiance again, "I have been studying jade carving for decades, and I think I am not convinced by anyone in this field. Today I finally understand that there are people outside the world and there is a world outside the world. I blamed you for being ignorant and contradicting Master Yi before. Now that I think about it, I just feel regretful and sorry." Ye Tiance didn't expect that Xia Ping's attitude would turn such a 180-degree turn. It seems that this person is not a stubborn person. Then he smiled lightly and said, "Since Master Xia Ping knows his mistake, let this matter end here." Xia Ping immediately shook his head like a rattle and said, "If I lose the bet, how can I dare to be called a master? With my level, this term is simply slanderous. Master Yi, you are the real master of carving. I just have one thing that I don't understand. Master Yi, how many years have you studied jade carving before you reached such a superb level?" This is actually what Xia Ping doesn't understand the most. I couldn't imagine that after decades of hard work, I would be defeated by a young man in his early 20s. Could it be that the other person has been practicing carving since she was born? Facing Xia Ping's problem, Ye Tiance said without hesitation, "About half a year." These words were like a thunderclap, shocking everyone speechless. Half a year of research far exceeds decades of hard work. Are you kidding me? Xia Ping trembled and couldn't help but said, "Master Yi, are you serious about this?" Ye Tiance nodded seriously. In fact, he has never specifically studied jade carving. The reason for this is entirely because when the master taught Ye Tiance the sword technique, in order to exercise Ye Tiance's ability to control knives, he was asked to use various knives and carve various stones. This will also be an exercise for your mentality. During those 6 months, Master's strict requirements on him were unimaginable to ordinary people. Of course, Ye Tiance's own talent is rare in the world and he is making rapid progress. Until the end, his sword skills reached the state of returning to nature. No matter what tool he was given, no matter whether it was stone, jade, or even metal in front of him, he can carve it into the most perfect shape. Therefore, even today is Ye Tiance's first time carving jade, but the final work is far from comparable to Xia Ping's. At this time, Xia Ping suddenly clasped his fists at Ye Tiance and said, "Master Yi, in the next life you will devote all your efforts to jade carving. Your talent and ability will be the role model to pursue in the next life. If you don't mind my dull qualifications, would you be willing to accept me as your disciple? I, Xia Ping, am willing to dedicate the entire Zhenbao Pavilion and my life savings with both hands, and will be with you from now on, kneeling to receive you. Wow! This sudden scene made everyone dumbfounded. They knew that Xia Ping was obsessed with jade carvings, but they didn't expect that it had reached such a crazy point. With such a noble status, he is actually willing to take Ye Tiance as his disciple. He also promised to give away the Treasure Pavilion and his life savings. How sincere is this? You know, if you can get these, that person's status in the entire Jiangnan city and even Tiannan province will rise. No matter who it is, they will definitely agree. But it was beyond everyone's expectations. Ye Tiance simply shook his head and said, "Forget it, you are not qualified enough." Wow! This time, everyone's eyes are about to pop out. This person named Yi actually refused? Or is it such a direct reason? Aren't you afraid of hurting people's self-esteem? However, Xia Ping himself was not angry. Instead, he nodded humbly and said, "Master Yi, you are right. I was rude and made such an outrageous request. I'm sorry." After saying that, Xia Ping stood up, despite being rejected, but when he looked at Ye Tiance, his attitude was still humble and polite. Where is the arrogant and arrogant look just now? This attitude finally made Sun Kai lose his temper. He stepped forward and asked in confusion, "Master, even if his sculpting skills are superb, do you need to do this to a young boy? There is no need to give him a good look at such a ungrateful guy." Snapped. Xia Ping slapped Sun Kai with his backhand. He said with a serious expression, "How dare you? Master Yi, are you the only one who can say something rude? But you, as my first disciple, actually did such a despicable thing without telling me, forgetting my teachings to you. You are simply deceiving your master and destroying your ancestors. That I declare that from now on, you are no longer my disciple, and you are not allowed to step into the Treasure Pavilion from now on." What? Sun Kai turned pale with fright. He knelt down on the spot and said with a cry, "Master, why did you say this? Do you really believe what Ye Tiance said? This is all framed by him. I really didn't do anything to change the contract." Xia Ping snorted coldly. "Who is Master Yi? How could he frame a fool like you? You are still quibbling at this time. You really need a lesson. Come on, drag this evil obstacle out, give it a good beating, and throw it as far away as possible." Yes. Two security guards stepped forward, held down Sun Kai, and dragged him out. Then, Sun Kai's screams could be heard outside. Xia Ping glanced at the group of apprentices again. He said coldly, "You helped Zhou to commit evil and deceived my master together with Sun Kai. What crime should you do?" The apprentices were so frightened that they quickly knelt down and begged for mercy. "Master, I realize my mistake. I shouldn't have deceived you, but this was all caused by senior brother Sun. No. It was coerced by that bastard Sun Kai. Yes, he threatened that if we don't listen to him, we will be kicked out of the Treasure Pavilion. The disciples have to obey. Disciple is willing to accept all punishments. I beg Master not to drive me away." Xia Ping looked at the apprentice kneeling on the ground. He sighed and said, "Since you're not making subjective mistakes, I won't drive you away. However, this month's salary will be deducted and the store rules will be copied 1,000 times. If anyone misbehaves again in the future, Sun Kai will be the one waiting for you." The apprentices all nodded and said yes. Xia Ping looked at Li Jingye and said, "Boss Li, is it time for you to return the green and white jade bracelet to his true owner?" This. Li Jingye looked embarrassed. "You must know that this green and white jade bracelet is a gift he plans to give to Rong Meiyan at the meeting tomorrow. Just pointed at it to give the other party a good impression. Why would you want to hand it over easily?" Xia Ping frowned and raised his eyebrows slightly and asked, "Oh. Boss Li, are you trying to fool me in front of me?" Li Jingye trembled with fright. Even though he has a distinguished status in Jiangnan city, he doesn't dare to offend Xia Ping. "I had to say quickly, I don't dare. I don't dare." Hand the green and white jade bracelet to Xia Ping. Finally, after giving Ye Tiance an unhappy look, he reluctantly left the Treasure Pavilion. Chapter 80 Entering the Civil Affairs Bureau. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Li Jingye left, the onlookers dispersed in twos and threes. Xia Ping personally handed the green and white jade bracelet to the young man behind Ye Tiance. He apologized. Sir, on behalf of Mtnovel Pavilion, Xia apologizes for what happened to you today. In order to express his apology, we Mtnovel Pavilion will not charge any processing fee for your engraving of this blue and white jade bracelet this time, and in the future, if you come to Mtnovel Pavilion for any purchase, we will give you a 50% discount at Mtnovel Pavilion. Please forgive me. The young man took the green and white jade bracelet. At this time, his mind was still a little confused, and he had not yet recovered from the shock. He nodded subconsciously. He turned around and said gratefully to Ye Tiance, Mr. Yi, your generous action today will be remembered in my heart. If it will be useful in the future, as long as I can do it, please feel free to contact me. He handed a business card to Ye Tiance. He said anxiously, Mr. Yi, I am really in a hurry, so I have to take my leave first. I will thank you again next time I see you. Ye Tiance smiled and said, see you soon. After the young man left, Ye Tiance looked at the business card. There was just a name and a series of phone numbers on it. Su Haoshuan, that's his name. Ye Tiance murmured and put the business card into his pocket. At this time, Xia Ping cupped his fists and discussed with Ye Tiance, Master Yi, I have a merciless request. What's up? Xia Ping pointed to the green mountains and clear waters carved by Ye Tiance. He looked embarrassed and said, I would like to ask Master Yi to transfer it to me. Of course, I am willing to offer all the treasures in the Treasure Pavilion to you in exchange. Ye Tiance smiled. All the antiques and jade treasures in this Treasure Pavilion add up to at least more than 500 million. Although the green mountains and clear waters he carved are of great collection value, they are a bit small in size after all, and if put on the market for auction, they would only cost around 1 million yuan. This Xia Ping obviously exchanged at a loss. It can be seen that this guy is really obsessed with jade carvings. Ye Tiance considered that after Xia Ping lost the bet, he knew that he could correct his mistakes, so he performed well and was not a sinister villain with bad conduct. Then he said, to tell you the truth, these green mountains and clear waters are of little value to me, and I am even less interested in the treasures in your store. If you want green mountains and clear waters, I have only one condition. If you can do it, I will give it to you directly. Xia Ping's eyes lit up and he said with great joy, what are the conditions? Master Yi, just say it. As long as I can do it, I will do my best. Ye Tiance looked around. Xia Ping immediately understood. I understand that there are many people in this place and it is not convenient for Master Yi to speak, so he quickly invited Ye Tiance to his office to sit down and talk in detail. Soon, the two came to Xia Ping's office. Ye Tiance took out the tiger-shaped jade pendant that was broken in half and handed it to Xia Ping. Look at this. Xia Ping carefully took the jade pendant and observed it carefully. After a few seconds, he said, this jade pendant is made of high-quality Hetian white jade. The craftsmen are extremely sophisticated. It is said to be thousands of years or more old. This is definitely a treasure of top-quality antiques, priceless, but it's a pity that it was broken into two pieces. Ye Tiance nodded. This Xia Ping is indeed a master in the world of antiques and jade. The tiger-shaped jade pendant was thoroughly analyzed so quickly. Ye Tiance said, my condition is actually to ask you if there is a way to repair it. Xia Ping asked, it is not difficult to repair jade. Master Yi, what kind of repair do you want? Ye Tiance said, that's what it originally looked like. Regarding the knowledge of jade restoration, Ye Tiance only had some superficial knowledge. I know that there are generally bonding methods, gold inlay methods, curium pot methods, etc. Among them, only the bonding method can restore the jade to exactly the same as before. Of course, this bonding method is not just about sticking it on with 502 glue. Rather, the jade craftsmen use special techniques and a secret adhesive passed down from generation to bond the jade. Therefore, Ye Tiance only knows how to repair jade, but is not good at it. Let's talk about Xia Ping, he said with a serious expression. In this case, I can only use the adhesive method. However, This tiger-shaped jade pendant is very old and the adhesive required is difficult to prepare, so it will take some time to repair it completely. Ye Tiance asked, how long will it take? Xia Ping replied, if it is completely repaired, it will take almost 4 hours. Master Yi, do you have time to wait here? 4 hours? Ye Tiance thought briefly and said, there's no need to wait here, I have some things to do, I'll come back to get this jade pendant after I'm done. As for the green mountains and clear waters I carved, I'll give it to you. Xia Ping was immediately excited and thanked Ye Tiance repeatedly. I almost cried. After Ye Tiance leaves, Xia Ping came to the center of the store. He ordered the apprentices, you prepare the adhesive materials for repairing the jade pendant, and then pack my independent carver out. Later, if the master has something important to do, he will go in and do it. During this period, no one is allowed to disturb him. The apprentices nodded, yes. Xia Ping's eyes fell on the central exhibition stand again. Seeing the green mountains and clear waters that he had carved, a trace of disgust appeared in his eyes. He directly ordered, come here, smash this thing and replace it with Master Ye's green mountain and clear water. From now on, it will be the treasure of our store. The apprentices gave various advices. Master, this is a treasure that represents your highest craftsmanship. Isn't it a pity to just smash it like this? Xia Ping said solemnly, compared to Master Ye's, it's not even good enough to carry shoes, right? Just do what my master says. If anyone stops you, get out. The apprentices were trembling with fear and did not dare to persuade them any more, so they all followed the instructions. On the other hand, Ye Tiance rode a battery car and arrived at the door of the Civil Affairs Bureau 10 minutes early at 9:50 in the morning. It didn't take long to stop the car. A red Porsche parked not far away. Xiao Qingcheng got out of the car. Today she was wearing a LO uniform, and her stockings perfectly set off her straight and slender legs. Coupled with her unique and cold temperament, she instantly attracted the attention of many passers-by. Xiao Qingcheng held a stack of documents in her right hand and walked up to Ye Tiance. Maintaining his usual aloof look, he said, I thought you wouldn't come over. Ye Tiance replied, no matter what happens, I, Ye Tiance, will come on time. Xiao Qingcheng frowned subconsciously. Are you really so determined to get divorced? Yes, after all, he has been flirting with women outside for a long time, relying on other women to make a living. I must be wishing for a divorce long ago. Pick yourself up, Xiao Qingcheng said coldly, in that case, let's go in. She walked towards the Civil Affairs Bureau. Ye Tiance did not hesitate and followed her into the Civil Affairs Bureau.